The first warning came as a soft chime through the corridors of the orbital palace. A sound so gentle that it did not match the panic that followed. Medics rushed through silver halls, their steps echoing as the news spread from chamber to chamber. The alien princess was dying. Her name was Lyra. She lay on a floating medical platform, her pale blue skin dimmer than it had ever been, the faint glow along her veins flickering like a dying star. The poison had entered her blood during the signing ceremony, slipped past every scanner, every guard, every ancient ritual meant to protect royal life. Now it was too late. Or so everyone believed. The physicians surrounding her were the best her people had. Their long fingers moved across holographic displays, reading numbers that made their hearts sink. The toxin was rewriting her blood at a molecular level, breaking down the carriers that delivered oxygen through her body. New antidote existed. It was not designed to be cured. It was designed to end a bloodline outside the chamber. Nobles argued in low, furious voices. Guards stood rigid, weapons ready, eyes scanning every shadow. An empire balanced on the edge of collapse, all because one young princess was fading away. Among the gathered crowd stood a human. His name was Eli. He did not wear royal colors or military insignia. His clothes were simple, dark, practical. He had arrived on the station as part of a small human diplomatic team, invited more out of curiosity than trust. Humans were still new to the wider galaxy, still misunderstood. They were known for resilience, for strange biology, and for a stubborn refusal to surrender. But none of that mattered now, or so everyone assumed. Eli watched the medics work, his jaw tight, his hands clenched at his sides. He had met Lyra only twice. Once during a quiet tour of the station gardens, where she had asked him endless questions about Earth's oceans. Another time during a formal dinner, where she had laughed at his clumsy attempt to bow the right way. Those memories burned in his mind as he stared at her fragile form. A senior physician finally turned away from the display. His voice was steady, but his eyes showed defeat. "She has hours," he said. Perhaps less. Ripple of despair passed through the room. Eli stepped forward before he fully realized what he was doing. "Let me see the data," he said. Several heads snapped toward him, some in surprise, some in irritation. "This is not a place for outsiders," one noble hissed. The physician hesitated, then gestured the data toward Eli more out of courtesy than belief. Eli leaned in, scanning the alien symbols. His eyes moved fast, his brow furrowing. He was not a doctor, but he had spent years working alongside human medics in disaster zones. He recognized patterns, failures, systems breaking down. "This toxin attacks oxygen transport," Eli said slowly. "It's collapsing her blood's ability to carry life." The physician nodded. "Correct. It mimics natural decay but accelerates it beyond recovery." Eli swallowed. His heart pounded. "What if you replace the blood?" he asked. "With something that can still carry oxygen?" A stunned silence followed. "That is impossible," another medic said. "No compatible blood exists." Eli exhaled sharply. "Humans," he said, "are adaptable." They stared at him. "Our blood cells don't just carry oxygen," Eli continued. "They bind it tightly. We survive extremes. Low pressure, high toxins, radiation. Our blood is stubborn." The physician tilted his head. Even if that were true, cross-species transfusion would cause immediate rejection. Death would be faster. Eli nodded once. "Unless," he said, "you don't try to replace her blood. Just support it temporarily. Give her body time." The room buzzed with uncertainty. The idea was reckless, dangerous, unthinkable. The princess's breathing grew weaker. Eli looked at her, then back at the physicians. "Take my blood," he said. The words hit the chamber like a shockwave. Guards moved instantly, weapons half raised. Nobles shouted. The physician's eyes widened. "You would die," the physician said. "Your blood volume would drop below survival limits." Eli shrugged, though his hands trembled. "Maybe," he said, "but she definitely will." The argument lasted minutes, though it felt like hours. Protocols were cited, risks listed, political consequences debated. Through it all, Lyra's life slipped closer to the edge. Finally, the senior physician made a decision. "Prepare the interface," he said quietly. Eli lay on a secondary platform beside the princess. Tubes extended from sleek machines, one set connecting to his arm, the other to Lyra's fragile veins. Transparent channels filled with dark red human blood, flowing steadily toward the alien princess. The moment the connection activated, alarms flared. "Her vitals are destabilizing." A medic shouted. Eli gritted his teeth as dizziness washed over him. His vision blurred, but he forced himself to stay conscious. "Adjust flow rate," the physician ordered. Slow, careful. The machines complied. Something unexpected happened. Lyra's blood glow, once fading, stabilized. The flicker steadied. Oxygen levels rose, slowly but unmistakably. The room fell silent. Minutes passed. Eli's breathing grew shallow. His heart raced, struggling to compensate, but Lyra's chest rose more her breaths growing stronger. The toxin slowed. "It's working," someone whispered. Human blood cells moved through her system like emergency couriers, carrying oxygen where her own blood could not. They did not replace her biology. They supported it. Bought time. Eli finally lost consciousness. When he woke, light filled his vision. Not the harsh glow of medical lights, but something softer, warmer. He tried to move and failed. A familiar voice spoke nearby. "You should not try that yet." Eli turned his head slightly. Lyra stood beside his bed. She was standing. Color had returned to her skin, brighter than before. The glow along her veins shimmered with new strength. Her eyes, once dull, now burned with life. "You're alive," Eli whispered. She nodded, emotion visible even in her alien features. "So are you," she said, which surprises everyone. Eli managed a weak smile. "Guess I'm stubborn." The physicians later explained what no one could have predicted. Human blood cells had not just carried oxygen, they had triggered a response. Lyra's body, exposed to the foreign resilience, adapted. Her own blood rebuilt itself. Stronger, resistant to the toxin's design. The poison failed. News spread across the station, then across systems. The story traveled faster than any ship. A human offering his blood to save an alien princess, a reckless act, a miracle. But the true shock came days later. Lyra addressed the council, standing tall before nobles who once doubted humanity. "Humans are not weak," she said. "They are not reckless animals or temporary allies. They are protectors, builders, and when faced with death, they choose to give life." Her gaze swept the chamber. "My survival is proof." Eli stood at the edge of the hall, still recovering, uncomfortable with the attention. He had not acted for glory. He had acted because someone needed help. Lyra found him afterward, away from the cameras and speeches. "My people will remember this," she said softly, "and so will I." Eli met her eyes. "I didn't do it for history," he said. "I did it because it was right." She inclined her head, a gesture of deep respect among her kind. From that day forward, humans were no longer seen as newcomers. They were something else entirely. A species willing to bleed for strangers. A people whose greatest weapon was not their ships or technology, but their refusal to let others fall alone. And across the galaxy, when stories were told of unexpected heroes, one name was always mentioned, not as a legend, but as a reminder that sometimes the smallest act of courage can change the fate of empires.